Perhaps the most common question I get when talking to clients. Hey, Matt, why is my case taking a long time to come to some type of resolution? And that is a great question because anytime you're facing criminal charges, there is a certain process to it. We've talked about what happens at an initial hearing. We've talked about various pretrial conferences that get set out throughout the entire course of the process. But the actual process itself, what that looks like is the state has all the evidence. We call it discovery. So the state has police report, body cam, dash cam. If there's surveillance cam, they'll have surveillance footage. So the state has their file. Indiana requires the state to turn over all evidence they plan on using in their case to us so then we can evaluate it. There are time limitations as to when the state must make their initial discovery disclosures. Doesn't mean all the discovery has to be exchanged, but the initial disclosure has to be done within the first month and a half is usually when we start seeing some of that roll in. And again, that's just the initial disclosures. Things such as audio, video, anything that has type of media to it, those likely come from a different server. Body cam footage, dash cam footage, that comes from a police server. Prosecutor has to access that server, request permission, then it goes to them. They have to then encrypt it, and then they can send it to us. So it's using multiple systems to get over. So the discovery process itself can take a little bit of time. Not only that, especially when it comes to DUI cases, we are trying to get some of the evidence most favorable to you. An example of that, DUI case where you do a breath test at the police station, we want to know, was that breath test calibrated? Was it certified? How many times has this been serviced? How many times has the machine been used? That's all available through the Department of Toxicology. We call that the download data. Well, when we send out our requests, we subpoena those records from the Department of Toxicology, and they have 90 days to respond. Now, normally, it doesn't necessarily take them 90 days to get us those certification records, but the timeline allows them 90 days to do that. If it's a blood draw, we're trying to figure out what's the protocol. Is there a written protocol at that particular hospital? Get that protocol. Again, that same process, 90 days to get some of that. And getting medical records, as you know, can be a process. On top of that, depending on the type of case, depositions, tape statements, things like that need to be accomplished. So in a DUI case, we want to talk to the officers. What did you see? Who did you talk to? What did you do specifically in this particular case as to the arrest, the stop, anything that anyone around, any witnesses said? What happened? Try to get a different picture so we can try to put everything together. Because here at the Marc Lopez Law Firm, there's no one-size-fits-all model for cases. Each case is inherently unique, and we need to figure out the best way to attack your particular case. Unfortunately, sometimes that takes a little bit of time. Now, if you wanted to just plead guilty right away, you could have done that in your initial hearing, but then you're ultimately in a significantly worse situation than if we can actually do what we need as far as our investigative purposes. And on top of the state having to disclose everything to us, anything that we get, we must disclose to the state. It's open discovery again here in Indiana. So anything we plan on using, we must give to the state. So that entire process of trying to both obtain discovery, review the discovery, and then make sure there's not anything else out there, and then deposing, take statements of witnesses and things of that nature, it just takes a little bit of time. If you have any questions about it or you find yourself confused, don't hesitate to reach out to us. We're happy to talk to you. Provide any updates you need. Give us a call, 317-632-3642. And remember, always plead the fifth.